So guys, imagine this, okay? Your MacBook could charge your iPhone and your Apple Watch simultaneously. That's the future right there. I am so amped for this. So yes, we have some new patents uncovering some pretty interesting features we can expect with future MacBook models, and on top of that, we have Min-Chi Kuo once again confirming that we can expect mini LED redesigned MacBook Pros as soon as possibly March 2021. So pretty exciting stuff if I say so myself, and with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe, click that notification for the latest Apple news and rumours, and with that being said, let's just tuck in. So Min-Chi Kuo is of course the best Apple analyst out there. The guy has an insane track record, he's been doing this for a long time, and his latest report uncovers a few things that we can expect from Apple in 2021. So most of this has been referred to by other sources, but essentially tells us that we can expect new iPhones, new iPads, AirPods 3, possibly AirTags, finally, this year, about time Apple, but most importantly, we could see redesigned mini LED MacBooks as soon as early 2021. Now, a lot of us kind of assumed that Apple would refresh the existing lineup first and then possibly make the transition to a new design later in the year. So for example, like I mentioned in another video, which you can check out in the icon above, basically, Apple would keep the existing 13-inch and 16-inch form factors and just give them the M1X upgrade, and then maybe at the end of the year, at some sort of dedicated November event, we could see Apple refresh those Macs again to possibly the redesign and mini LED that we've all been waiting for. But Min-Chi Kuo's report suggests that maybe Apple's only release in terms of the MacBook Pros will be that big super cycle with, of course, the redesign and mini LED. And interestingly, he does suggest that most of these should be announced by the first half of 2021, so that means that there is a possibility we could see these as soon as the March event that's taking place very soon. Now, John Prosser has referred to a March event happening on the 16th, and we heard some other reports in 2020 suggesting that Apple's 16-inch refresh is very much ready for production, and so releasing it this soon into the year, I guess that does make some sense. I believe it was Mark Gurman who suggested early in the year that apparently the 16-inch MacBook Pro with Apple Silicon is being built by Quanta Computer, who is a completely different company from Foxconn, who makes the current M1 machines. In that report, he did actually mention that maybe the 16-inch MacBook Pro was further behind in the production cycle compared to, of course, the 13-inch MacBook Pro and the 13-inch MacBook Air. And pretty much like he said, we only saw the MacBook Air and the 13-inch MacBook Pro, so that suggests to me that there is some credibility behind Mark Gurman's report, not to mention that he's just a very reliable source, so putting all that information together, I think that it is very likely that we could see a 16-inch MacBook refresh and possibly a 14-inch refresh alongside it as soon as March 2021. Also, what's interesting about this report is that the 16-inch MacBook Pro is being built by a completely different supplier. Now, this might be something I'm looking into a bit too much, but maybe that could mean that these two suppliers have been given two different designs to build, and the 16-inch built by Quanta Computer is of course going to incorporate the iPad Pro-like design that we've been waiting for. Either way, I am very, very excited that we could see a 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pro as soon as March 2021. That's only a few months away, and so yes, the hype is very much in the air. The hype is in the air. That's a very weird thing to say, but you know what I'm saying. I'm very, very excited, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are too. Now, another thing that Min-Chi Kuo mentions that he also mentioned in a previous report is that the MacBook Air will be getting a refresh in 2022. So, like I suggested in another video, I think the MacBook Air is going to be staying the same for this year, and that makes complete sense because the MacBook Air at the price it is right now is pretty much a perfect machine. I think it's incredible value, and so there isn't really a lot that Apple can do with the Air this year. And so hopefully, along with the mini LED refresh the Air is expected to get, we also see some sort of redesign to that lineup too. Anyways, let's now delve into a pretty interesting patent that I hope sees the light of day. I'm assuming a lot of you guys have been waiting for this, but yes, in the future, we could maybe use the armrest of the Mac as a wireless charging pad for pretty much any device that has Qi charging enabled within it. So for example, your iPhone, boom, that can be charged. Or for example, wherever it is, there, AirPods, that can be charged. Or your Apple Watch, or pretty much anything that has wireless charging enabled on it, you can charge it with your MacBook. Now, of course, as with anything in life, there are advantages and disadvantages to this implementation. So of course, let's get the negatives out of the way. Number one, it's gonna be painfully slow. So wireless charging, as great as it is kinda painfully slow. And yes, I know that Android phones have faster implementations of wireless charging, but on the Apple side, it is pretty slow, and that's not going to be fun to use on a MacBook. But a rebuttal I have to this in a way is the fact that I don't think people will be using this wireless pad on their MacBooks to charge their phones all the time. It's something for an emergency, it's something to just quickly top up your AirPods with, because of course AirPods have very, very small batteries that charge up really, really quick. And so even with these slow wireless chargers, AirPods actually top up pretty quick. And so I can totally see myself just casually dropping my pair of AirPods on my Mac and letting them charge. That just sounds really cool. But of course, there is also another issue at hand, and that is, of course, how are you going to ergonomically use your Mac when there's objects on the armrest? Because guys, I know that some of you might not know this, and I'm going to blow your minds, but an armrest is used to rest your arm. Wow, who would have known? Jokes aside, you can see how the issue arises, because of course you're trying to use your Mac, but your iPhone and your AirPods and your Apple Watch is in the way, which isn't going to make things very comfortable. Personally, I don't see myself using this tech when I'm actually using my Mac. For example, I might go quickly to do something and I could leave my iPhone to rest on the Mac, and yes, it will probably only charge up to like 2%, but at least it keeps my iPhone topped up while I'm briefly away. And so yes, I do acknowledge the disadvantages and negatives with this technology, but ultimately, guys, come on, it's pretty insane if your Mac could charge all your devices. And also, let me mention, Apple doesn't just have patents for this technology to be enabled in the armrest, because it could also be on the lid of the MacBook. So essentially, it will have a series of upward-facing inductive coils, which will allow you to place your device on top of the MacBook and also use it as a wireless charging pad, a massive wireless charging pad. That sounds pretty insane to me. Now, of course, some of you might think, what about the iPad? Because we have no iPad that supports Qi charging. Well, this patent pretty much describes that maybe we could see an iPad in the future with some sort of MagSafe tech. And so that would also be able to charge via a Mac. And so closing this MacBook, it just gives you a massive giant wireless pad to leave your devices on. This could be AirPower in a way, like it's AirPower and a MacBook coming together to create this very awesome thing. And it gets even better, because this patent says that you could maybe place devices on top of each other. So you could charge your iPad, your iPhone, your Apple Watch, AirPods stacked together, and all of them will magically charge using the tech in your MacBook. I'm sorry, but this is just insane. I am so excited for technology like this. That's going to be such a flex. And if you think about it, you will only need one charger to charge your Mac, and then you can just place all your devices on top of that Mac, and all of them will be charged using one cable. That's minimalism at its finest, and I'm very happy in minimizing as many cables as I use, because I don't want thousands and thousands of cables everywhere in my life. So I actually would use this tech for maybe charging my devices overnight when I don't need the speed of fast wired charging. And it doesn't even end there, because of course a lot of us use our devices while they charge, and so This patent also illustrates that maybe the UI could adapt to the fact it's on a wireless pad on the Mac, and so if your iPhone is obstructing a part of your iPad as it lays on top to wirelessly charge, your iPad will recognize this and it will minimize the UI. So yes, mind-blowing stuff. I have to admit, this is very, very cool stuff, and I just hope it's not one of those patents that never sees the light of day. Because here's the sad truth about most of these patents. As amazing and quirky as they are, a lot of them don't make it into production because of maybe supply constraints, or maybe Apple just can't see them making this technology on a mass scale. There could be a multitude of reasons, but yeah, it would suck if this one doesn't make it into production. Though I do really see this happening in a future MacBook model, and it's not just me being optimistic, but because the arrangement of these coils resembles the MagSafe technology and of course the iPhone 12, I think Apple could maybe bring this tech under the MagSafe branch. And of course, this new tech will help create an ecosystem of MagSafe-enabled devices. And so yes, it's fair to say I am very, very, very much looking forward to the future of Apple Silicon Macs. I think the future is very bright. And so, of course, tell me in the comments below, if there was one dream feature you would want in a Mac, what would it be? Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click that notification for the latest Apple news and rumors. Check out a video here in the icon above, probably a recent video on something Apple related. And on that note, I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya, peeps.